Shavua Tov u'Mazal Tov. Today, this week, we're entering the Shavua Shechalbo, the week where we mourn the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the two Beit HaMikdashot, the two temples that have been destroyed. The first one that was destroyed due to the three famous sins, which are the incest behavior, which is Gilui Arayot, Avodah Zarah, worshipping idols, and Shefichut Damim, killing. The second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Sinat Chinam, because of the hate that we've discussed previously in our shiurim. And Be'ezrat Hashem, tonight we're going to try and understand once again how perfectly synchronized the development of our shiurim is with the timing and the events of the Hebrew calendar. So, to try and recap what we have learned in our last shiur, and since we entered the 3 weeks, so we've discussed the power of humility at length, and then eventually we explained the reason why people tend to deviate from the humility through the arrogance. And we addressed the two types of arrogance: the arrogance that is a trait given to human in order to be able to stand for what he believes, what we call self-esteem, and the deformation, the distortion of that quality that becomes a destructive quality, which is the arrogance that basically breaks all the social networking and connection a person should be developing for his own growth and for the growth of the community and society. And then we went to understand and explain what leads to this mistake of what we call arrogance, and what makes the trait that is so positive, which is called self-esteem, become something that's so destructive. And we addressed and we explained that it's due to an unhealthy relationship and interaction with materialism. And once again, we explained that materialism can be used as a tool to growth, or when it's used as an identity, as something that I need, so the person becomes a consuming person and focuses only on himself, and through that center and egocentrism and focus around himself, by default destroys again the relationships around him, which is the birth of, like we just said, of arrogance. And then we went deeper and we explained what is the reason behind this mistake. Why would a person, instead of using materialism as a tool, which seems to be so simple and so logical, why would a person twist this outlook on physicality, on materialism, and binds his identity, his life to materialism, to the point where he becomes subject to materialism to the highest level possible, and is imprisoned in that rat race of having to consume and to own, and only then can he interact and can he be proud or accomplish something. So we explained that when God created man, He created man from the earth. And he took earth from all over the world and brought it all together to the Bet HaMikdash, to the center of the creation of the earth, what we call the Even HaShtiyah, the point where the world was created, and gathered all that earth, and on that specific place created man. And we explained the reason behind it is to teach humanity a lesson that physicality is the body that allows to the soul to exist and interact in this world. A physicality, earth, without kedusha, without spirituality, without a connection to God, without a purpose, a vector to elevate the body and the physicality, is a material, is earth that has no structure, that has no life, that is completely irrelevant to the creation. And for that reason, when a person doesn't have a purpose in his life, doesn't have a holy purpose, doesn't see a responsibility in growing and connecting and elevating himself, the person naturally falls in that vicious circle of materialism, and by nature, by default, he has no choice but to relate to materialism as the true essence, as his need of existence, his reason of existence. And then the person, as we said, then continues that vicious circle and becomes arrogant, etc., etc. What is left for us to really understand is what is the reason behind the seizure, the disconnect in a person between his physical nature, the earth, his animalistic tendencies, the body, and his goals, his higher goals, his objectives, his purpose, his holy purpose, his elevated purpose in creation. Why do we lose that connection with our purpose? What is the reason? And we will see how perfectly aligned with the week of the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash these teachings are. So the Gaon Mivilna, when he discusses the build-up of a man, he says man is made, the Gaon Mivilna and all the Chachamim, all the rabbis address the same thing. They say that man is made of three spiritual layers in his build-up. The lowest one is obviously the nefesh. The nefesh, we explained, is the spiritual inflow that God injects in creation for the physicality to exist in this world. And this is called the nefesh. And then above that, we have something that's more spiritual, which is the ruach. The ruach is the spiritual inflow of God that gives humans the instinct, the emotions, the deeds, the traits, the characteristics, all the midot, all the values, all the instinctive reactions and emotions come from what we call the ruach. And then we have the neshama, we have the soul that is higher, that is connecting us to the higher purpose of creation, to Hashem, to God, so that through our work to elevate ourselves, we elevate everyone around us and all humanity and the entire creation. So the Gaon says something very beautiful. He says, when God created the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama, he gave to the first two, to the nefesh and the ruach, traits that are instinctive and natural to those respective spiritual layers or physical layers compared to the soul, that will allow meant to exist. And he explains. He says, first he gave to the nefesh, he gave what we call lust, what we call the desire, the passion. And he gave Hashem the ta'ava. Hashem gave man the ta'ava for one purpose, which is to be able to desire certain things in order to exist, to survive. It's a survival mode. And the explanation is that God gave us the desire of food so that we can eat. If we didn't have the desire of food, and we would forget to eat and we would die. So he gave us the desire to eat so that we can eat food and survive. Gave us the desire of procreation, in order to be able to procreate and bring offsprings, bring kids to the world. If humans didn't have the desire of intimacy, then we wouldn't have any kids. We wouldn't feel the need to have kids. So that is the ta'ava. In the ruach, in the spirit, Hashem gave two critical traits, again, traits of survival. One is called the kin'ah, the jealousy, and we will explain it in a second. Not in the pejorative tone to it, but in a constructive, instinctive, and survival mode explanation. We'll get to it in a second. And the second one is the ego. So the jealousy, what would jealousy be given to man? Is in order, the rabbis tell us, to compare ourselves with others and push evolution of creation. If I don't have to compare to anybody, then I will do what I want, he will do what he wants, and this will not allow evolution to grow and progress fast enough and evolve in a better dynamic and a better pace. Ego, it's very clear, because if you don't have self-esteem, if you don't have ego to feel like you are worth something, what will be the motivation of a person to do anything? If he doesn't feel that he is important, so he's gonna say, what's the point of me doing anything? Anyways, I'm a nobody. Anyways, I'm worthless. Anyways, nobody, I won't make a difference. So what's the point of doing? So God gave us the ego to feel important enough so that we can be productive, and the kin'ah, the jealousy or the comparison with others, in order to push evolution. And when I see someone succeeding, well, you know what? I also want to succeed, so I will push myself to grow. Oh, this one made this phone, let me make a better phone. This guy made a computer, let me make a better computer. This guy find a medicine, let me try to find a better medicine. However, the Gaon tells us, at the time of creation, we know that Adam gave birth to 3 sons, Cain, Hevel, and Shet. Cain, we know the story on Cain and Hevel. Cain had in mind to bring an offering to God, and Hevel saw that. He said, you know what, let me also bring an offering to God. And we know the story. The offering of Hevel was accepted. The one from Cain was not accepted. Cain is enraged and kills Hevel. And then down the road, Shet is born, and from Shet will come the humanity and the descendants of Abraham, etc. So the Gaon Mivilna tells us something beautiful. He says, already at that time, there was a lack of control and understanding of those basic traits that were given to humanity in order to grow and to evolve and to survive, and was used on a disproportionate level and for not a survival purpose, but for an for a way to impose himself. How do we see that? Well, we see that Cain decides to give offerings. Why? Because he is left with too much, and he understands that he's not going to be able to benefit from everything he has produced. It's going to go to waste. So if it's going to go to waste, then we might as well give it as an offering to God. Hevel, so Cain represents the ta'ava. Cain represents the desire, the lust in a person. Hevel represents the ruach, represents the ego, and represents the jealousy. He sees that his brother brings an offering. He says, you know what, I'm also important. He's doing it like this, let me do it better. And out of jealousy, not out of good reason, but out of jealousy that his brother came up with such an idea, he decides to bring a better offering. And what do we see? We see that the jealousy that was born in Hevel yields jealousy in Cain, and Cain ends up killing Hevel, which comes again as a big lesson that we've spoken about many times, that the person yields what he produces, what he plants. When a person is jealous, then he's going to get hurt by jealousy. When a person is envious, he's going to end up being hurt by envy. When a person speaks bad, speaks lashon hara, well, he's going to end up being hurt by people that speak bad about him. Like what people say, what goes around comes around. So these three flaws or traits that became flaws ended up becoming the universal flaws that is found in every individual, and that pushes a person towards a more self-centered, selfish behavior, and a need to consume, a need to own and control and manipulate and impose, which are again the lust and desire from the nefesh, and the kin'ah, the jealousy, and the ego. The Gaon tells us these are the three pillars in humanity that destroy society, that creates fights, wars, disputes between individuals and communities and people around the world. All this because people do not understand that those traits were given in order to survive and not in order to control and own and impose. So the tikkun, the way to work on ourselves and be able to refrain ourselves from falling heads on in a world or in a lifestyle that disconnects our real purpose to our life, is to just let the ego, let the jealousy, let the desire and the lust control our lives. If a person is really honest with himself, and you ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm about to do? Why am I buying something? Or why am I reacting to a situation the way I'm reacting? The Gaon tells us you will always find the root being one of those three flaws: the desire, the lust, the ego, and the jealousy. Oh, so what should we do? First, we need to understand the reason of the flaw, the reason of those traits, and why those traits are so destructive is because we don't control them. We don't channel them properly. We're not aware enough. We don't let the third layer, the neshama, shet, take over and take advantage of those characteristics, those traits, and benefit from them instead of getting hurt from it by being such a lame in life. This is the reason why people live the way they live. The Rambam Maimonides says most people in the world live like that because they never tap into their soul. They never see through the eyes of their soul the true purpose in life and their true vision to elevate and benefit their life and the life of everybody around them. All they focus on is themselves. Why? Because they're not in touch with their neshama, they're not in touch with their soul, and therefore those three presiding forces that motivate and push and take advantage and take over the nature of man control their life. So when a person understands that and first says, you know what, stop. I don't want my earth to be alone. I want my earth to be connected to the Kedusha of the Har HaBayit, to the Kedusha of the Kodesh HaKodashim. How? By understanding that there's a higher purpose, that I have a neshama, that I have an intellect, I have a brain, I have a soul that has to guide my life, has to direct and use properly the tools I was blessed with and I was given. And that each and every one of us have that challenge. Anyone that comes and says, you know what, I'm not a jealous person. You know what, I don't have lust. I don't have desire. You know what, I don't have ego. It's a lie. We all have it. The question is what prevails first when we're about to interact or engage in an endeavor or in a journey. We have to be honest with ourselves. When we understand that, then we can start the real tikkun. So how do we fix it? All right, we understand that it was given for a higher purpose. However, we also understand that we are under the influence of the animalistic side of us, which pushes forward those traits in a completely uncontrolled way. So we need to now see what are the efforts that needs to be done in order to fix this within us. So our Chachamim tell us that those three flaws are the three averot, the three sins that Am Yisrael did before the destruction, or that led to the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash. The destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash we discussed. The discussion of the second temple, we said it was due to sinat chinam, to hate for no reason, and we explained what it was. But we will focus tonight on the three reasons why the first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. As we know, and we said, because of worshipping idolatry, because of incest behavior, and because of killing. Those three sins come from the three flaws of humanity. How? Ta'ava, the desire, is what yields or brings to reality the incest lifestyle, the desire, uncontrollable desire that brings humanity to a very low behavior, prostitution, etc., etc. That's the nefesh. Then we have the kin'ah. The kin'ah is the jealousy. The jealousy brought the killing. People are so jealous that they are willing to kill in order not to let someone grow and elevate and prevail. Yes, from jealousy we can kill, our rabbi teach us. And the third one, avodah zarah, is ego. How can ego bring avodah zarah? When somebody is self-centered and thinks he thinks too much of himself, then he's going to say, well, why do I need to go to God? Let God come to me. How? By creating an idol and worshiping it. So if we recap, desire and lust brings to reality incest behavior. Jealousy brings to reality killing, and ego brings to reality avodah zarah, idolatry. And idolatry can be today not avodah zarah. The avodah zarah today the idolatry today can be anything. So the tikkun, the work that we need to do in order to fix the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash is to work on those three things that are so fundamental in each and every one of us. So our rabbis tell us, so how do you fix it? Through three avodot, three works, three-dimensional work. The ta'ava, the desire, is fixed through the behavior of Abraham Avinu, which is the chesed, the abundance of kindness. The desire and the lust is someone that focuses only on himself, that only wants to take. It's the tikkun is to learn to give and to share on every level, whether it's share your time, share your love, share your wisdom, share your relationships, share money, it doesn't matter what it is. The abundance of sharing does the tikkun of the ta'ava, repairs the sin of the desire and the lust. The kin'ah, the jealousy, its tikkun is Yitzhak Avinu. Yitzhak Avinu represents the gevurah, a gibor. Ezeu gibor hakovesh et yitzro. The gibor is the one that knows how to control himself, how to control his behavior, not to be weak and be wavy and wavery and taking right and left just because he has to be socially accepted or because of the peer pressure. But in order to do that, the gevurah also is the ability to not let yourself fall for what you think you should have when you look at someone else. The jealousy, the way to deal with jealousy, is through the gevurah. When you are in control, then you understand that you cannot let yourself hurt others or think that you should control them or take from them or put them down. A gibor is someone that is in control. So when a person feels that he has a sense of jealousy, then the way to control it is to recognize that he has to be in control. He has to be the master of himself, of his emotions. And the third tikkun, the ego, is Yaakov Avinu, is the tiferet. The tiferet is the glory of Hashem, the glory of God. The way to fix the ego, and we spoke about it, is to recognize the only one and the only purpose we have in this world is to serve Hashem, to serve God, to serve humanity, to help humanity, and to understand that we are important, yet we are important as much as we are giving and benefiting society by elevating them. We're not important if we destroy and we hurt or we break. This was Yaakov Avinu. And through Yaakov Avinu, through the work of benefiting others, through the work of glorifying people, elevating people, showing people how important they are, giving them the proper attention, the proper love, motivate them. We do the tikkun of ego. A person wants to fix his ego, go and praise people around you. This will help a lot. These three avodot, these three different works that should be implemented daily in our behavior so that we can fix that flaw, that disease that lives within us on 3 layers. And just then can we actually take advantage to our purpose and really understand our purpose. When a person is a giving person, when a person is in control of his emotions, is in control of his instincts, when a person knows how to be mefargen, how to elevate others. There's a difference between giving and elevating, giving the kavod, giving the respect to the people, understanding that we have to give kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give the real kavod to Hashem. When a person behaves like this, automatically the person recognizes that he has a purpose in this world. And this world is not just about how much I can take, how much I can make, how much I can own, how much power do I have, how much control do I have, how much influence do I have, but instead a global work that will, through my work, be there and forever. I will make an impact, a tov shem mishem and tov. We are mourning the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the destruction of the temple this week. But the best way to mourn it, the best way to mourn a person that we love is by emulating his good deeds, by showing that we become better people because of that beloved one. So the best way to mourn the Beit HaMikdash is to become better people and to start every day. Every day, let's start with 5 actions. 5 actions of kindness. 5 actions of self-control. And 5 actions where we empower the people around us. And we praise and we give kavod to Hashem. By doing this, I promise you that naturally, instinctively, your neshama, your soul will take over, will shine. Your neshama will shine, your soul will shine, and give you the clarity you need to be able to see a higher and greater purpose in your life. And that's when we start living. That's when we start our real journey in life. So please, Rabotai, we are entering, Be'ezrat Hashem, in a few days, the Tisha B'Av, the fast of Tisha B'Av. Let's focus on this. Let's grow from it. And let's try to implement every day 5 actions of greatness. 5 actions that change us, that will change everyone around us and our entire perspective. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for, again, all these beautiful shiurim. I am not sure that we will be able to continue the shiurim until Elul, until the month of Elul. I will try my best, and you will be aware. But in case I am not able to continue the shiurim for the next few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks maximum, I want to wish each and every one of you a beautiful, healthy, and peaceful summer. May you use this time for growth. May you use this time to bond with your families, with your beloved ones, and may you use this time to prepare yourself for Rosh Hashanah that's coming, that's around the corner, so that on Rosh Hashanah we answer present, we answer we are here, and Be'ezrat Hashem we make a difference, so that this new year that's coming to us, Abba Aleinu L'Tova, should be a year that will make us forget the challenges and the distress of this year, and Be'ezrat Hashem give us a year of blessing and a year of happiness and a year of health. So once again, may you all have a meaningful fast. And Bli Neder, I will try. Be'ezrat Hashem, I will try my best to give shiurim and continue to give you the shiurim on Mondays and Thursdays. But please, in advance, I want to apologize if there are times where I won't be able to give it. Only in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So once again, Shavua Tov, Mazal Tov, and have a meaningful and blessed fast. Kol Tov.